Hello and welcome to our Darth Vader live build. I'm Joshua Hanlon.
And I'm Matthew Kay.
And we are joined by LEGO designer John Ho to do a live build with his LEGO Darth Vader set that he designed. So we're really happy to have John with us, and I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, John. You're actually in Billund right now, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm in Billund right now in the office. It's great to actually have you guys invite me to do this. I know we are not usually that much into the community showing these kind of like we call it construction models. That was buildable figure models. So it was a great chance to actually talk to you guys about it.
Definitely.
For sure. And so what we're going to do is we're going to hold off a few minutes on starting the actual build while we talk to John about some of his kind of history in the LEGO community and his time as a LEGO designer, and then we'll start in on the build in a few minutes here. So John, if you just want to start us off with kind of how you first started building with LEGO. Did you build with it as a kid? How did that work?
We didn't need to try to remember when was the first time I played LEGO. I remember some kind of like the Forest Man set from the Castle series. I remember some City sets. I remember the Mono Train from City, which was one of my favorite back in the days. But because I come from Hong Kong, there's a lot of Japanese animation stuff going on, and I got sidetracked to comics, to different animation, to robots mostly through my high school and secondary school. And then in university, I suddenly come across the site Bricks, and I start looking at all the cool models that they have back in the time. It was 2008. Then I start looking at these people's creation and start to think I can actually do it. So I go out and buy some box of Creator and try to build myself some robots, because I really love building robots. That's kind of my thing. If you have seen my Flickr account, I go by the name Ice Plus Coffee. I build mostly robots. So that's what I do. That's basically.
So early on, when you were kind of developing like your talents, what was like the single most important resource for you? Was it like Flickr or Brickshelf or some kind of online site that allowed you to see what other people were doing? Or
in first, I was using a lot of brick sets to like look at old stuff and see what other people were commenting on, and then I move on to Brickshelf to see what people are building actually. At the end, of course, I open my Flickr account, start putting my stuff on it, and then actually to interact with people. That's what changes a lot. And like I said to Josh before the interview started, was like Mike, who did the interview with you guys before. He was actually one of the builder. I look at his stuff a lot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the most interesting thing was we actually came to the same equipment workshop in 2012. So I was in the same workshop as he is. First time meeting this guy, I didn't know that he was the same age as me, but I was single at that point, and he was already married for a few years. It was like a culture shock to me. Didn't expect that at all. But it's funny that at the end we both become designers and we work closely together. We joke around every day and we drive to work every day. It's really what LEGO is linking like the two of us and many different designers in the house together. Is really bounding together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is really cool. So then as you kind of worked your way through the LEGO community, became more involved, what point did you decide you might want to try out and to become a LEGO designer?
Actually, that was a coincidence. There was a LEGO fans on Flickr that sent me a text. Like, he really liked my work, and he included one of the ads the LEGO has back in that point to hire someone from Creator. I forgot which department it is. I think it's Creator and some other department. And then I was in the moment thinking, why not? So I sent in a very not prepared portfolio and my resume and everything. And of course, if at first I got turned down, but then they sent me another email later on asking if I still want to go for go through the process. And I go. I went fly from Hong Kong, which is 13 hours, 16 hours, including waiting halfway through the planet to come here to have an interview for 4 days, which is a very excellent experience. You meet people with different places. You communicate with them. You meet with some LEGO fans, which you think you never meet them in your life, basically, especially when I come from Asia. So that's how I started. But of course, Mike got the job, and I didn't. But later on, I actually got an email from back in the day was Hero Factory. Later on, Bionicle, that the team was sending me a message, see if I'm interested to be a designer in their team. But that's how I got started.
Okay.
A year after the recruitment workshop, actually. I started around a year later.
Mm-hmm. So coming from Hong Kong, what was your first experience like in Billund and kind of Denmark in general? What did you think of that when you first got there?
My description will be, it's a big difference. It's like countryside to us. I mean, I live in big city, like the more populated area in Hong Kong. So we see building that is up to the sky, like 30 floors tall. I was living in 36th floor once, and it was a different experience when I moved here. I was living in a ground floor, which is like never happened before. But it's a very interesting experience. And also fun to see how the Danish people use mostly bike to communicate, the commute, and also they ride the bike to supermarket and stuff. It's a culture shock, of course, but after I have to say I'm pretty Western in like eating food. But I wasn't having problem adjusting to mostly to various pasta, pizza, burger, kebab, and yeah, that's basically covered what I would eat. I don't eat salad though. But yeah, mostly meat. But I'm quite used to this. My wife, on the other hand, has a hard time to adjust. But she coped.
Okay. So then what was and maybe at the time right now, what is the LEGO community like in Hong Kong? Were there other builders you interacted with on a regular basis there when you were a LEGO fan?
I mostly communicate with Hong Kong Love, which is quite a big group in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Some exhibition back in the days and also involved in different competitions here and there. They have a pretty good communication with with Yan and Kim and Jackie now. Jackie is now in charge in Asia.
Yep.
So that's really good. Yeah, I interact with them quite closely. I've been to a few of the events, and whenever I go back, I visit them. I also go to some local shops that I know before I was a designer, and say hi to them. So I do whenever I have a chance, I do go back and talk to them. And I'm happy that they were so excited to see me and asked me to sign the box. But sometimes you feel the struggle. The more box you sign, the more box that you understand that they're probably not going to open it. So it's kind of like this dilemma. Like you kind of want them to build it, but in the meantime, they were asking you to sign the box as their like a memory on like I based on my knowledge, I'm kind of I don't know if I'm actually the first person, but I'm currently the only Hong Kong person working in the design team. So to them that was kind of unique, and that's why they want to get me to sign the boxes for them whenever I was there. So it was great.
You need to open the box, just cut it open, and then.
I kind of want you to build it. I wouldn't mind to sign your building instructions instead.
Exactly.
That's the other thing. It's quite funny to go back and interact with fans that I know before I was a designer. It's funny how the spirit of the friendship is still there. It's not like oh now you're a designer. It changed. No, we're still good friends. We talk regular basis. We make jokes still. We laugh around. It's very good. It's great experience.
A while back, we had Jared Chan on the podcast.
Yeah.
And he shared some of his wonderful creations and everything he told me about the group in Hong Kong, and it really sounds like a wonderful, wonderful kind of group of people.
I'm quite. Here's belong to a different group, which I a little bit seldom communicate with. But Hong Kong is a great place. We have great Lego shop that we can buy stuff from. It's a different environment. It's also easier to get because we have so many shops, different small shops and stuff. So we can actually get boxes with just the bricks without minifigures. That's how I actually got my collection back home.
It sounds like in-person brickling stores, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just walk in the shop and I pick the stuff I want. I don't need to wait until Bricklink send me the stuff, which is great. But of course the amount is not that, the quantity is maybe not that high. You can't go in there and say I want 1,000 pieces of that. You can't. I try. I can't. I really did try it. I just can't do it. But it was funny. So, and usually what I do was I go buy these boxes that they open, they took out the minifigures, and I just buy the bricks and just build my own stuff. And I guess there's quite a lot of people who do MOC back in Hong Kong. They could do the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really neat. You're able to still kind of interact with those builders you knew before you became a designer. That's cool that you keep in touch and you're able to go back every once in a while and see what they're working on.
It sometimes is also to communicate with fans to get a little bit feelings on what are the things they like. Sometimes they scream what kind of bricks they want. We usually kind fulfill those needs. We try. We try to hear it at least. At least we were here. What you were saying?
Something to keep in the back of your mind, right? Just to kind of understand what parts do they want, colors.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes we have our limitation when we do a product development, of course. But in many cases, we will still try to fit these things in if there is a possibility or the scenario actually allows us to do these decisions. So it's still based on cases. Different situation, we will do different stuff. But of course, different designers still have their own judgment. But of course, these kind of requests or this kind of suggestions, where sometimes we'll hear it and we'll see where I can fulfill them.
Mm-hmm. So then, kind of getting back to your time as a designer when you first started out, what was that process like for you when they said they were interested in having you become a designer? What was that kind of process as far as going through the different steps of kind of the build process, that kind of thing, to become a designer?
So I come over as really a fence builder. I build really fence-like model, which is mostly my robot is always a little bit unstable. And that's we understand that can't be product. Now I understand. Back in the days, I don't really. So actually, it was a very good experience that I go through more concept phase, and then actually the first product that I work on is the Bionicle series, the new Bionicle series that we just come out in 2015. And then right after that, I jump into working on the Star Wars construction that we have. Right now, here's the awesome models. After this, I work on the 16 Bionicle stuff, 2016 Bionicle stuff. And for the future, I can't tell you what I work on. That's the thing that we went to convention and people were trying to trick us on what we were working on. It's never gonna happen. We're never gonna tell you.
That's like the holy grail of LEGO fans, is to try to trip up a LEGO designer to spill secrets about future products.
Well, I guess you guys didn't just try on us. I thought you guys try on Kim, Calvin, and whoever you.
We take a shot whenever we can at it.
Yeah, exactly.
anyone possible.
Yep, I believe so.
That is wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that is really cool, and I know you are really hyped to build the set here, so I think this is a good time to go ahead and start in on the set now that we've kind of established some of your background at the LEGO community and your time as a designer. Then obviously we'll talk a lot about your design process and everything as we're working on the set. But I think we can go ahead and open it here. And so you have, John, you have a built version and a non-built version with you, right?
Yep, I have one of the. This is the version I have when we have the final approval on the models, and this is one of the models that I have. I will just put it here. But I'm great to hear that you guys haven't built this set before this, so it should be a funny experience for you guys too.
That's right. Yeah, neither Matthew nor I have built the set before, so first time experience here for us.
And I have to say, I haven't built this for a while, so we'll see how much I remember out of this.
It'll be a new experience.
To us, it's like thinking about the long gone past, because when you talk about product launch in 2015, we did it like year before or something, some like past tense when it launched. So we already faded the memories when it launched, and then now it's like half a year later, it's even more faded. We'll see how much I remember out of it. I hope you enjoy it.
How does a LEGO designer open a box? What's the problem?
I opened the way that the box was suggested. If you look at the back of the box, there was two things in the bottom to tell you to open it. I just put my finger in there, and then open it.
Now, you have a different version of the box than us, because at least mine, Matthew's, yours the same. Mine has tape, and it doesn't have the.
Yeah.
Mine is Europe version, I guess. I don't.
That's probably that's true. I think you have the Europe version because has a different way of opening it.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Which I think also the other.
Envy that you guys get the special edition with the Luke and Darth Vader box, like a combined box in Toy like a battle box, which is quite. I haven't seen it. I've seen pictures of it. It's looking very nice. So building instruction.
Yeah. My instructions.
Not many steps. We can finish it. 47 steps. Shouldn't be that long, right?
No.
So let's open the back.
Now, when you first start on a set, do you do anything special as far as like organizing pieces or anything like that, or just kind of dump them out and go from there?
I mean, these are not number bags, so we just open all of them. But when I build a set at home, like I just built the Nixon Light robot, the Mac, two days ago, I based on the number bag. I do follow the number bags. It's why are you smelling that?
Oh, it smells interesting. It smells like a new car.
It's a new box of Legos.
That's an extra feature, is the nice smelling Lego parts.
Another note, this is probably the biggest like cloth element I've ever seen in a Lego set. This is amazing.
I think we have similar size before on the Kima buildable figure, and also I think it's a Kima figure.
Okay.
We have.
I've never seen.
I think on some of the Hero Factory models, so we have that.
That's amazing.
You can look at the amazing Darth Vader head. Actually have prints on his face with the 3 dots. 3 dots.
Mm-hmm.
Looking very nice.
That is really nice, yeah.
That's
It's a big head. It's a huge one.
I love the head element. That's fantastic.
It's awesome. It's made by one of our used to be one of our teammates, Peter. He's a German guy. Awesome element designer. He made this one. So
that is awesome.
And that's one of the process that we work with closely with Element Designer. That they actually we make sure the build fit with the models, vice versa. So I make sure that this fit perfectly on models, and of course he makes sure that this fit perfectly on the model too. So it's a cooperation.
Definitely. Now, one of the first things I notice are the amount of these like large pieces, like all these different large kind of elements. How many of these are special for the set?
Actually, almost every. There are a few pieces that are specially printed for this set, like the printed element like this.
Okay.
When you say which is specially for this set, it's actually the hat, and also this knees, lower leg element. But this is used across the whole Star Wars buildable figure line.
Okay.
So actually, we use quite a lot of these. But the rest, and you will notice when we start building this, is you look at the building instruction and you figure we're actually building the upper body. So that's why there's no like a special element for this. And also because we have limitations, if we do just an element for him, that element could be quite expensive and like budget and time. Resources, these kind of things were the limitation that we have. So mostly here is printed elements, like new printed elements, or if you really need to say an element in special color for this, it's also the lightsaber. When we launched this is the only set coming with the red one. But of course, now you have Kylo Ren, so he also have a red lightsaber. But other than him and Darth Vader, the red lightsaber only come in here.
And it's kind of flexible too. I like that.
Yeah, we have different criteria when we do elements. For long elements like this, of course, we have safety concerns. So there is some kind of like you make sure that you don't punch yourself too much on that.
Not a weapon.
Gotta protect the kids.
All right, let's start doing this.
Okay.
So what have I done?
So when you after you became a designer and everything, and they brought you into the program, was this working on sets like this something you chose, or is this kind of did they assign you to this theme?
It was we were given the chance to work on Star Wars. I was when I heard the news, I was so excited. Star Wars has been one of my favorite IPs since the day. Since back when I still remember the first time I went to the cinema with my father to see the priority, the New Hope, the Empire Strikes Back. Remember Darth Vader breathing noise in the big cinema. I remember the the staircase with smelling really good food in the cinema, which is weird. But it's all these things that give me memories. Of course, it's also part of like a family memory that's also giving me remember this. But yeah, with all these, Star Wars has been part of my life. I can say that. I love it. I've seen the movie many times. So when I heard the news that we are doing Star Wars, I was so excited. And I was given the honor to do Darth Vader, which is even better. I didn't believe I was given the task to do Darth Vader, but of course he turned out to be more tricky than I expected because of the you need to make sure that it fits with the theme, easy to build, and also like from scale point of view, there's a lot of thinking behind this. So it is quite challenging in the end. It spent me a lot of time rebuilding the overall build. I think I made over 13 to 15 versions of him before I realized to a point that this is the one that we should go with.
Before you actually start putting pieces together, do you do a lot of concept art or concepting, drawing, anything like that?
I mean, of course, for Star Wars, we don't need to, because it's a little bit different stuff from our IP partners. So that's a different case.
Sure.
But for like Barnacle, we have artists, we have concept artists working on it, which his stuff is also shown on our current Facebook page. So for these kind of cases, especially we are developing a theme, we need to define the characters and stuff. Of course, we need concept artists to actually draw these stuff, but it's also a back and forth because we still need to make sure the model is built. So we usually, in the concept phase, we'll work closely with the concept designer and also element designer because we will still develop some element concepting in those days. So for example, we have some people looking into the expression of the Darth Vader head in the beginning of this process because we need to figure out what kind of style we're going for. Because I mean, yes, we're doing Star Wars, but still, what kind of style are we talking about? That's still the debatable point in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys on the building?
A little bit.
Coming along, I'm on like step 9 here, so just kind of moving my way through. It's pretty nice so far. Quite an enjoyable build.
I am slow then. I'm step number 6.
Well, I'm only on 8, so don't feel too bad.
As the designer, you get a handicap for us who haven't worked on it before.
Well, I have to say I didn't memorize the build of this, so we are on the fair ground. I'm quite sure.
So
You go.
You mentioned that you did like 10 to 15 different versions. As you're working on all these different versions of the build and kind of figuring out the best way to do it, are other people giving you advice on that, or is that just kind of you by yourself figuring it all out?
For this one, mostly, of course, my teammate gives comments, but mostly they are more like artistic comments, like shapes, like details and stuff. But when it comes to the build, because the torso is quite complex, it's mostly about the way that we build. So that's mostly I was figuring out how we actually bring this to buildable for the kids. As you can see, this box is also 9+, so we have a different standard with different age group that we are targeting.
Okay.
And now I understand why you can be so fast on the steps. I'm number 9. Catching up.
The one thing I thought about when I heard that we were going to be doing this is that this is really, this set in particular is like one of those sets that's sold everywhere in the United States. Like you can buy this at a drugstore, you can buy this at Walgreens, you know, you can get a Target, any store that sells any Lego, they have this set. And I just think it's amazing. And I said, hey, that's John's set. We're going to be building that soon. And so I see it everywhere I go.
But it's amazing to hear that it's actually that wide being distributed. I didn't expect that at all.
That's amazing, yeah. It is everywhere.
Yeah, I mean it's Darth Vader, and I can feel that energy if I see like a action figure of a buildable figure of Darth Vader that I can actually build on my own. It's just not like buying a figure back here. I just display it. It's something that I actually create with my bare hands, and they end up it look like Darth Vader. It's a different experience, and I enjoy designing it. It's a very interesting journey. And I work on this one.
Definitely.
It was interesting you mentioned. I think you mentioned to me before we went live here, and as we were talking before we started the build about you're kind of big into a lot of like Japanese type toys and that kind of thing as well. Do you feel like that affects how you work with your Lego designs as well? Do you bring in kind of other ideas from other toys at all?
I I think I play with a lot of action toys, like in the days, like Japanese like toys. Half of it is robot stuff, and I built quite a lot of plastic models from Japan, from different country. I'm quite sure there is some influence on how I perceive a character or a figure should have like posability and stuff. And I mean, we can even see here, and we'll build it later, like how the shoulder will be able to move around the armor without showing the bones underneath it. It's like these kind of small details that I was trying to put it in. And those are the things that I was struggling so much in the design process, because I really want to put these things in. It's also on like my image when I see how Darth Vader performed in the scenes in the movie, and how to try to replicate those feelings on it. It's the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Replicate his patterns of movement. I see.
So what have I done? Right. There.
So do you have a favorite piece from this particular set? Is there one piece that you just really feel like is super useful?
I have a favorite pieces, that's for sure. If you look at step 11, the first pieces, I have already built it in. I will try to take it out. It's this pieces. This technique pieces.
Okay, yeah.
For some reason, I love to use it. If you have built other set that I work on, I use quite a lot. And my boss actually mocked me the other day, saying I almost put it in every single box I worked on it. But of course, that's not true. I did try to find which box I didn't use it. I did find it. But he is not far away from the truth.
It's your signature piece.
I just think that pieces was so much potential on like the way to build. Just the pieces is such a good pieces to be used. So I love using it. And it's also easy to lock two technic pieces together. So for building a solid technic model, this is quite useful. Of course, that's my opinion.
I can see how that would be useful. That yeah, I could a lot of applications for that piece. So yeah, that's neat.
This is like the most Technic elements I've built with in a long time.
That is true. Yeah, I don't do a ton of Technic building, so this is always a little bit different when it's mostly Technic elements.
It's a different experience for you guys, which is good. So where is that? I sometimes have trouble finding pieces on the table.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know how you guys shot your bricks at home. I just shot it by colors.
Really?
It was a nightmare when I tried to build something.
This by colors? No, nothing by element?
I do pick out some small bits, like small pieces, but mostly because of like Hong Kong, we live in small places. It's really not a huge place. So I don't really have room to store a lot of things. So that's the trade-off I have to have is sorting them by color and just take them and use them whenever I can.
I also find that it doesn't really make any sense to sort your pieces by element unless you have a lot of LEGO or you build mostly town creations. Because for most other themes, like to build spaceships or creatures or anything like non-large buildings, you kind of want to have access to a variety of different elements in the same color. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes you get inspiration from the bricks themselves.
Exactly.
I don't feel that. Like, you pick up the pieces and feel like the pieces is telling you, I belong there. Please put me there. I don't know if you guys have that feeling. I always have that feeling. Like when I build, especially when I was a fan, when I build a model, sometimes I feel the bricks is telling me like, I belong there. Just put me there.
You could just put me down right here. Yeah, exactly.
So it's quite funny to know how people actually shot. Especially I don't have that much space to build big stuff before. I focus on building robots less than 15 centimeter tall. It's not that tall. It's like this much, not much. So they are small, so I use small pieces mostly. And then I got a whole bunch of like gigantic bricks, like big plates. I have no way to use them. So sometimes I end up with weird pieces in the collection. Which, by the way, they're still stuck in Hong Kong. I haven't used them over.
Oh.
Kind of miss them. Not sure my wife shared the same feeling, but yeah.
Your wife likes having a little bit of room in the house?
A little bit.
She has her own area, but we're not living in a big place currently. And I have too much toys, I have to admit. That's too much. In anyone's opinion, it's too much.
Has she gotten into Lego building at all?
I try to get her some Lego fan. Here and there, try to get her building. She like it. She like it. But she liked to build mostly. She also liked to create some stuff, like from her imagination. So I try to open some set and get her some bricks. So at least we have a small collection of bricks at home, so she can build here and there. It's mostly I am playing with Lego at home. Mostly me. So almost there to total.
So far the build's like very compact here. So we're like 25 steps in and it's everything's staying very close together.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, it's different from building a Technic car. Because when you build a Technic car, you want the overall shape, you want the function inside. But when you try to build like a character like this, and you're trying to recreate the shape, it's kind of like almost feel like a fence build. But of course, the tricky part is how do you make it like a fence build, but still it should be a product that is designed for kids to build it.
Mm-hmm.
That became the biggest challenge of this model, and this torso was the trade-off to get that done. Make sure that we can actually deliver a proper model that is doable in the shape. We can see the overall body when it covered by the armors. But you can also see how compact the body is. I have to say this one is way more simplified than the first few version I have. That was not good. Yeah, this is a lot more simplified than the original version that I have already. So.
When you're simplifying a model for production, what's the number one thing that goes into the simplification process? Like, do you remove elements or change the structure of it? What do you do?
Well, for this one, I actually just I like the shape, but if I don't satisfy with the way I build it, I try to build it completely from the beginning, the whole process. But I usually just take two pieces and pretend I want it to be like this, like that's how the body look like. So I will take two of these pieces and think about where the connections are and how I actually will be able to bring the connector to the right position to actually fit everything in. Yeah, that's the way how I work. I know different people have different ways to.
Sure.
But that's my process. I tend to build one model more time to get myself also familiar with it, and to a point that I actually understand what is the most important pieces and what is can be simplified.
Very interesting.
I mean, by the step 28, you can see the body is quite like stable, very strong.
Yeah, definitely.
So you can actually like bend with it and play with it a bit. It's wobbly, but it's quite strong to hold itself together. Let me try to show.
One other thing I'm noticing is the amount of I feel like new Technic elements or Technic elements that I've not seen too much. How many new Technic pieces do you think have been appearing over the past couple of years?
To be honest, I didn't count. I didn't count. But I know the turning pieces up behind the neck was new. There was one cross axle with cross axle going 90 degrees with a snap hole in the middle. I think that's a new pieces. I think there was new cross axles just coming out. There was also one pieces that we used in step. Who was this? Also step 9 that we used new 3 module half cross axles, half snap. So I guess I remember that's a new pieces. But this one is mostly traditional Technic pieces, but they're just built in a more condensed, more dense way. So they're built really close to each other, almost using every single space in the body. And that was the purpose, to make sure that the pieces stay where they are. When you even, like when the kids poke on it, you can grab it in the bottom, in the body, then you can actually hold it.
Yeah, definitely. You feel how sturdy it is.
Very sturdy.
Legs, finally. So we're quick. We're talking about 47 steps, and this is 31 already.
Have you been able to watch a child build the set before?
Yeah, we have different tests, and of course we have bring in students to like test build and stuff. So yeah, we have a lot of testing process through the whole development. So we do see kids building these models from time to time. Also to get the feeling of how the kids feel about the models. Do they like it? Can they recognize it? And that's very important because we want the kids to know the character. We want to make sure that they know them. So when we show a character, it's very important that they can recognize it.
When you were just a fan builder before you became a designer, did you ever have a chance to display at any conventions or anything like that, any shows?
I used to join some exhibition in Hong Kong, but after that, since 2000 late 2011, I haven't done it a long time. But since I was here, I actually went to the Scareback LEGO Festival.
Okay, yeah.
So I've been there 2 years in a row. It was great. It's a great experience. Also seeing people coming from different places around the world just to come here to see this event, just to be here, talk to different people. The last 2 times I drove with Jamie, which was also a funny experience.
just gotten to the leg.
Yay!
Awesome. And now we get a big figure going.
Yeah, you finally get to the big pieces.
That's right.
I mean, this is the part that I feel when I build the feet and put it on, it's really bring the feelings of how big the model is. As you can see, it's almost as tall as my hand.
Yeah, when you get the legs going, and you add a lot of height to it.
It's funny that it's almost the same length. If we just put the head like regardless to the feeling instructions tell us, it's the same height. It's amazing. Feet. Feet. Also in here you can tell there are some pieces that we use in Hero Factory in the banks. And it was actually we haven't used it for a while, but we bring it back just to do this model.
Really?
Yeah, like the round shoulder pieces. We haven't used it for like at least a year when we launched it. So we didn't use it, but we bring it back because this model needed. It's very important because you need it.
Okay, I think I just finished both of the legs here. You can see one is on there. Very nice. Get that put on.
Yeah, you can totally feel the size, how big it is.
Yeah. So do you ever have an occasion to ask for new parts to be made, or have you ever gotten a new part made for a set?
I'm involved in some of the elements boost. But when we have like new elements that we need for article, and also for some of the like new function for the figures and stuff like that. So I also give different inputs to the element designer through their development process, so to make sure that they actually fit with the goal, and also to make sure they have enough building possibility. Other than that, I didn't really like. I don't know how to do 3D elements, to be honest. So I wasn't involved in like exactly doing it, but it's a different team that I'm working in with the construction team because they're unlike other teams where for most of the teammates they also do elements except for like they build models, they also do elements development. So they are kind of half-half. So they are a little bit more involved in the element development process. But I'm the builder in the team, so I mostly go into building models most of my time.
Mm.
I don't think there's any element that is directly influenced by me to be like created. Looking forward for them though, but not currently. Not yet. One day it will happen. One day. Hopefully.
That is really cool. And now the build just feels like it's like gone like high octane. Like so much.
Yeah, the most tricky part is done. Now it just
Right.
now we're going to the easy part of the model.
Exactly.
I really like how the different some of these bigger pieces fit together. So like you have the connection joint kind of underneath the outside armor piece.
Yeah.
That works really well. It's really cool.
It worked extremely well when you start to put it on the shoulder, also with the armor. Then you'll see on the next few steps, you'll notice that when you move the arms, it's actually covering the joints, but it doesn't interfere with each other. So you get a very nice cover when you move the arms. Guess I'm almost done. Okay. Is this the first time that you build these kind of figures?
I think I've built a Gallagher set before.
And so yeah, I think it's about the first time I've worked on something like this. Like I said, I don't do a lot of this type of builds, so it's pretty cool.
I guess it's a different experience when you build it like the first time ever.
It's almost like a whole new like Lego. I mean, I guess it's a different Lego theme for sure, but it's like a different the way the ball and socket joints and all the Technic pins, and it's much different.
It's really different experience, but it's still the Lego experience. That's very important. But still, you can take it apart and build your own version. You can swap the models. You can rebuild the models. You can create your own characters. So that's still the same principle.
Definitely.
Finish mine. So I'm experienced with this, so definitely I'm faster. Don't be intimidated by me.
Smoke show. Smoke us. Smoke.
Maybe, I know you have some of your other models there, so while we're finishing up, if you want to talk about some of those, some of the other builds you worked on?
Yeah, I can show about it, but that's coming back to the point that we say, like, this is Lego experience, you can create a little bit. Like, you can modify the figures to create your own things. Like, I think the best example I have here is, like, this Cody model that I modified. I didn't change much, I changed the back, of course, but, like I took the Sith Lord hologram and put it on Cody's hand to actually create the Order 66 scenery, because that's Cody design is actually coming from also UP3, so it's exactly the same costume that he has when he received Order 66 to execute it. So,
Okay.
that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the best example I have here. But of course, a lot of figures for Darth Vader is mostly the figure itself, but for some of the figures we have actually like the good old flick missiles. We have it in Django's backpack. Also for a lot of the figures, you can take off the weapons and actually put it back on the body. Like Django can hold his picture on the lower legs, like this, and then he can hold it on his hand. So that's very nice. If you talk about new pieces, actually we also have the new shoulder pieces that was launched with this color line.
Interesting.
Of course, then we need to bring in Luke to fight with his father. I am Excellent. There's also you see the height difference. Mine is black. My clothes is black background, so it's a little bit hard to see this. You do see the height difference between the two figures.
Yeah.
So that's also what is important, that we see it from the scenes in the movie that they do have a little height difference. It's more like a father figure. So
Every little detail. There you go.
Yes, exactly.
Oh wow, it's amazing how the armor just fits together. I've now realized that's amazing.
Oh, on the shoulder?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the major things that I was forcing myself to fit it into this model. Because I think it's very important that the shoulder armor doesn't show any gap. Because on the original design of Darth Vader, that's almost one pieces. Of course, without making new elements, it's quite hard to achieve that. I think this kind of represent what it will be, and also give you enough space to actually play around with the figure, so you can move the hands around with like the action with the sword.
Exactly. It is really, really nice job.
I still remember the days when cell phone, when back in the time when you can first time put MP3 into your cell phone at ringtone. The first song was Imperial March. Darth Vader.
That's funny.
It was great.
You've even got it so you can attach the two hands together here, so it's like he's holding the lightsaber with both of his hands.
Yes, exactly. I think I try it, and the effect will look even better if you use the cord pixels in the middle. So you connect the two hands actually together, and then you put the lightsaber handle on the one hand like this.
Yeah, there you go.
Then you do get that feeling that you were holding it, and then you can pose it like crazy. You're stable. You'll be stable enough to hold it like this. You see it after there.
Now I have to close him. Sure he stands up here. Get dramatic. Foot to the side. Display.
Finishing it up there, Matthew?
Yeah, I was trying to not pose him. I don't want to pose him like some kind of model. He has to have like a Darth Vader.
You need to pose him right.
I know I can pose him right. Let's see, what do we got on the box here? Oh, that's it. That's it. That's what I need. Okay. There we go.
Sister. Yeah, the best home display is you can have this Luke, and you can put two figures like this. I did the same at home. It's awesome this way. Love to put them just right next to each other, acting out when like one of your kids' memory.
I see.
That's so cool.
It's one of my favorite scenes back in the days in the EP6 when they finally confront each other. That's really exciting. But yeah, it was really exciting to work on Darth Vader. Of course, it comes with pressure because you don't want to mess up Darth Vader. That's the thing. I'm quite sure if I mess up this model, everyone will remember me as the one person who messed up this model.
Yeah, so that was to be remembered for that.
That was the feeling I have seen the first day I worked on this model. I was like, I have to make sure this works. So that was the challenge. I'm happy how it turned out. I'm happy that most of the people I talk to, they like the model, especially you guys now.
Definitely.
Well, we're doing it together. That's awesome.
We approve of your work and your talent, John. You are a master.
You need to go get the rest.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing how we can actually achieve without that many like specific elements just for him, but you can still still know who he is. We still got some of the details in there. The accent is there. When you look at the model, you know it is Darth Vader, and you feel how powerful he is. So I think that's just the beauty of building a LEGO model. That you can create with the existing bricks. You don't need new pieces just to make this. Of course, the head is a problem, but yeah. We have the head, and we have the rest.
Yeah, if the head was built out of pieces, it would just, you'd have to, like, I don't know, there'd be a lot of pieces, you know?
It's tricky to get the details that much, I have to say.
Oh, yeah. It would have to be, like, a bigger, I feel. Maybe
Yeah,
a bigger.
it's way bigger. And I also did look into the old Technic model, and that was a really tricky way to get that done. So, that was also the feeling I have with this model. It's very nice that it come out looking great. Also give you a good building experience, a very unique torso design, and also a different experience for people that was the first time to build these beautiful figures. Not to think that they are just simply taking the torso, put on arms and legs, but it actually could have a very complicated design that look great.
Exactly.
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
Where are you guys going to display it?
This is something I feel like it'll have to go like, I have the Louvre right here. I'll
You
put it
got on it. Nice. Right
So-
next.
Darth Vader smashes Louvre.
There
Great.
you go.
Or museum.
Lovely.
I'm sure that's the pairing John had in mind when he was working on the model.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
perfect.
We could put like a little Friends doll riding on his shoulder. There we go.
Try to put a minifigure in there.
Yeah. Maybe he can hold a dolphin on the tip of his sword.
That will be a little bit tricky, I guess. I haven't tried it.
Now we're getting too crazy, too crazy. Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, I think this turned out really great. So what can we look forward to then from the future for you? What are you still working on the Star Wars line for future builds?
Currently, I'm not working on the Star Wars line. I still have some concept, but I'm not officially working on the product. I still working on Barnacle stuff, which will be coming soon, and also already launched in 2016 January. You can already see them in the shop. But yeah, that was it. It's a great experience to work on the buildable figure line, which is a very different experience. Also trying to become a builder in that team is also a little bit special. Because, as far as I know, I was the only LEGO fans working in that department. So it's a little bit funny experience to be the builder in the team that is mostly design background. I'm kind of like the nerd, the LEGO nerd, talking about these old sets that we really love, like monorails, and old spaceships, space police, and stuff like that. It was like no one understand me. Everyone looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" It's like the nerd in the team. It's a funny experience.
Yeah, just misunderstood sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, from different backgrounds, of course, there will be communication differences. And we come from different backgrounds, we like different kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I think it's the goal of creating the best toy for kids that is linking us together. So we always get good communication because we always aim for making a good model for kids, for adults, for everyone. So that's a spirit that is keeping us on the same track, aiming for the same goal, doing the same stuff. Of course, we need people from different backgrounds and different opinions, and make sure that we deliver to satisfy every single person. Like you guys were really satisfied with this model, which is great. First timer. Now you're sold. Now you need to go to the shop and buy more of these stuff.
I'll go buy all of them later today. I'll go to the
Oh
store.
yes, one more happy customer.
That's right. Your work here is done.
We have one question, John, from the viewing public that we would like to ask, and it's a question from James Learmont. He says, John, apart from Star Wars, what other LEGO themes do you like?
So other than Star Wars?
Other than Star Wars, because obviously you like Star Wars because you, I guess that's just, he's assuming that.
Yeah, I was really into Palm Miners. I like the little rock monster. They're just lovely.
Yeah, I was a big fan of those. Yeah.
They're great. I love the Space Police 3 because I love the vehicles. They're just awesome. Also like a lot of Ninjago stuff. I bought a lot of them. Like the Ghost stuff we have in 2015. The new Sky Pirate thing that we have. It's awesome. I love the design. Nexo Knight is slowly getting to me, and my wallet is not a good thing. Funny you didn't give me to say that. What else?
Retro themes? Any like?
I'm into also playing with mice actually. Because I come from a programming background, I sometimes do programming on my spare time, and programming milestone was quite fun. If you haven't tried before, I would totally suggest you go give it a try. It was awesome to see how easy you can program something and then it works, and then you can modify the model and do something else. And it was a great experience. I think that's it. I almost say every single theme that. Love City too. I bought a lot of different stuff. Seriously, I bought like superheroes, Ninjago, Nexo Knight, He-Man, Ninja Turtles, a lot of things. Too much. Yeah, I love all these themes. And building Lego is kind of like my after work entertainment. It's a little bit different feeling now compared to the old days, because before I was more buying for the set for the bricks so I can create my own stuff, and now I'm more like buying the sets to build the sets, to experience how they experience the building experience is, the play experience is. So I think that's a little bit change of like the point of view, but still building Lego is one of the enjoyable entertainment of mine.
Totally.
Yeah, that's really cool. So we definitely, appreciated you joining us for the live build here, John. It was a real pleasure having you join us from Billund. It's always interesting to hear from the designer with these sets. So I hope we can do this in the future sometime. It'd be really neat to do another build with you.
Looking forward to when we have the next product that we can do it together.
Definitely. So yeah, I think lasting impressions. Go out and get not only Darth Vader because he's awesome, but the rest of the Star Wars line as well. You will not regret it. They're great builds. And as Matthew mentioned, you can pick these up at least in the U.S. kind of everywhere. These sets are pretty universal. So if you're interested in getting it, it's not hard to find them. So definitely go out and check them out. And we want to thank everyone who watched us live as well and was commenting during the broadcast. We appreciate you joining us. So we'll see you soon with another live broadcast of a build sometime in the future here. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks once again.